All right, let's get caught up to speed here on episode 89 of the Kiss Army Things podcast. My name is Xander.
My name is Daphne.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us on another fun episode talking all things Kiss. So today's going to be more of a current events episode. We haven't done one of these in a while, mostly because I didn't think there was going to be much to talk about
Yeah.
since the band, obviously, as a touring act is done. And even though there's no really band news, we still have band member news and
Right.
some other things to discuss. And so I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Daphne, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Glad to be back.
I noticed you have some tea there. Is that
I do.
warming your hands up?
It is very much. It's a little chilly in this room and needed something warm.
Well, I tell you what, I am having me a nice ice cold money back soda. I just re-upped. I just got a fresh batch. So they hadn't had root beer in a while, which I was kind of upset about. And so
Yeah.
luckily I found me some root beer. So I'm happy. I hope everybody out there is happy and having a great day, a great week. And so today we're going to talk more about some current events, including the Kiss Spotlight this week, which is a little unconventional. It's a little unusual, but it is going to tie into our current events episode. And so typically we usually talk about an album or a song or, whatever it is that we've been listening to or jamming
Or
to.
a concert or
A
something.
concert. Yeah, something like that. But Jeb is the one who, created the Kiss Spotlight, the whole segment. And his original idea was that it was, whatever piece of Kiss media are you consuming.
Yes, or even Kiss adjacent media.
Yeah,
so it's pretty broad.
It's pretty broad. It's mostly, his idea was what piece of Kiss media have you been digging into? And so typically that either means an album that you're listening to or something that you're watching. And so this week, our collective Kiss Spotlight is the Facebook live stream that Gene did on Facebook this past week, which was kind of awesome. Very unusual for Gene to do.
Yeah.
Maybe he's done live streams like that in the past. I don't recall personally.
If so, it's been a while. And the fact that he announced it a few days ahead of time,
which was awesome.
Yeah, made us look out for it for sure.
And we were going to try and actually catch it while it was live, but that did not work out. So we did watch it actually just before filming this episode because we wanted to hear what Gene had to say, what questions fans were asking. And so I thought it was an awesome conversation.
Yes, it was.
It was a lot more exciting than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be more of just really basic questions and Gene trying to just get through it. But he was very funny, cracking lots of jokes, answering lots of really great questions.
Yeah.
And so, was there anything about that interview or that questions that were asked that stood out to you?
Yeah, a lot of stuff actually. I think that the questions were very well chosen. You could tell that he was not just reading whatever questions popped up on screen. I could tell some. In fact, at one point you saw that he had them printed out on a piece of paper. So I think he or his team actually went through and chose.
Okay, pick the best of the best.
Chose good questions because they were really good questions. But yeah, it was something interesting that he mentioned early on was that because somebody was asking about the Gene Simmons band and upcoming tour dates and whatnot, and he actually said that he thought that they were going to go on tour with Deep Purple.
Yes, I caught that.
And that didn't work out. I'm like,
this was right at the beginning of the live stream too.
Yeah, and he said it just kind of as like a passing comment and moved on from that really quickly. And we were both like, wait, what?
He said it fell through, right?
Yeah, it fell through. Something didn't work out. It fell through. Yeah.
That is interesting because if Gene had been announced to be opening for Deep Purple on their tour, that would have been incredible.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
I can't think of, what could have possibly have fallen through. Whether it was, negotiations or certain dates or any number of things could have happened. But man, how awesome would it have been, or how awesome would it be to have Gene opening up for Deep Purple?
That'd be a great show.
On this tour because I have never seen Deep Purple live. They're one of those bands that even though I'm not just well versed in their catalog or anything, they're one of those bands that you just respect.
Yes, and you know how talented they are.
And and they do have a list, a handful of songs that are just undeniably, classic. And so they're one of those bands that I want to see live.
Yeah,
kind of like Alice Cooper, which I checked him off.
Right.
At this point, it's bands like Deep Purple, and then even Judas Priest would be one I want to see. So. That would have been it.
Yeah.
That would have been the awesome time to see it.
And perfect opener, obviously.
Yeah, but I can't imagine I can't imagine what would have happened to have had those plans fall through. But he is announcing some dates in South America.
Yes, he did say
I think one date in South America.
Yeah, they're headlining some festival in Sao Paulo, I believe, Brazil.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. They're, headlining festivals already, right at the beginning.
There are 3 headliners, and yes, Gene is one of them. I'm not sure if he's the last one. Maybe he is. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I know that he is one of 3 headliners for the Summer Breeze Open Air Festival, and that's in Sao Paulo, Brazil, happening April 26th. So that's like in a month and a half.
Yeah.
So very, very soon.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff happening in April, apparently, because another fun thing that he mentioned that we got really excited about was he's going to be on American Idol.
Oh, yes.
And my dad and I have been watching American Idol like my whole life. We still watch it. I still go over to my parents' house and watch American Idol when it's on. And so that's something really cool. And we've loved seeing Kiss on Idol in the past.
Twice, at least.
With Adam Lambert and Caleb Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
That was awesome. So to hear that Gene's going to be on, I'm assuming he's going to be a mentor or something, or a guest judge.
You think so?
I don't know what else it would be.
Guest judge will be dope.
I don't know what else it would be since it's not Kiss. You know what I mean?
Right. No. Yeah.
So, because unless he individually is performing with somebody, but it's just, I don't know who that would be. So I'm thinking maybe because they have, and this is something they've been doing a lot more in the last couple of years, they have celebrity, big artists come on almost every week and mentor the contestants and like have heart-to-heart conversations with them, help them with their performance that week. So that would be really cool.
That would be amazing.
So I think I would almost rather have him do that than guest judge, because we'd get to see more of him and his insight on performing and stuff like that.
Totally.
With people. So
totally. And I think I may join you on join you guys that night.
Yeah, you don't always come, but
I know what you guys are saying, but I think I may come over there and we'll all just watch American Idol and we'll all get to see Gene together, because I cannot wait to see in what capacity he's going to be there. He said he was going to be showing up April 17th for a pre-recording segment.
Yeah.
And then he was going to possibly appear on the live show Sunday, April 21st.
That's why I think the more I think about it, the more it makes sense that he would be a mentor.
Yeah.
Because that would be, just a few days before those contestants' live performance, so they'd be rehearsing their performance.
And they're there taping it for the package to edit.
Yes. So he'd be helping them with that it's a Wednesday, and then it airs a few days later on Sunday, and the mentor is usually there live as well, like encouraging them and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's probably what it is.
That's so cool.
Very cool.
It's very exciting. I know. I can't wait to see that, because, again, I mean, we don't really know what to look forward to now that Kiss is not a touring band. So anything that's going to happen is going to be fun. You know what I mean? And he said that AI called him.
Yes, yeah.
American Idol called him and said, "Hey, why don't you pop on?" And reach out to him. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I bet that was fun for Gene. So I can't wait to see what is in store for Gene on American Idol.
Yeah, I'm excited for that too. Another really funny moment. It was a question that somebody asked where
funny moments.
There were so many good ones. Somebody asked him what was one of his most embarrassing moments on stage. And I thought, because we know there's been and none of it has been his fault, but freak accidents with equipment and things like that where he's been stuck somewhere. I thought he was going to mention something like that.
Nope.
No, his exact words were, and I quote, "I've crapped in my diaper once or twice and had to wait the whole show."
Just to go backstage and get cleaned up. Yeah, so that's one of those things that you just do not expect, because when you are in the crowd or you're watching a concert, you know what I mean? You don't know what's actually happening on stage. And if anybody plays it off in a certain way, you'll never know that there's an accident happening.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned how when Ace fell on stage in 75 and then the guys came over and started kind of swaying over Ace, made it part of the show.
Right.
You can do certain things to just make it, work, but you would never notice if Gene had quote unquote crapped his diaper unless it was leaking out or whatever. But I wonder at what point that was.
Right.
If
How
he's
long
talking
ago
about
that was.
Is this back when you were in your 20s and you're young and on stage, or was this when you're your 60s in your 60s and you're having trouble holding it in?
Right.
You know what I mean? I want to know what era, but he didn't really go into detail, thank goodness.
Well, it's funny because it reminds me of how just recently, the very last show, he apparently had kidney stones or something.
He had a kidney stone. He was passing a kidney stone
during
the last Kiss show. So
that's kind of what that.
You never really know what they're going through on stage. I've even heard about Paul talking about having cracked ribs.
Oh my gosh!
Performing with cracked ribs.
I can't imagine singing with cracked ribs.
And I've heard them, being on stage with the flu or a cold or whatever. I've seen them on stage in 40-degree weather with no t-shirts. They're just backstage coughing and stuff. It's you never really know. But
that's dedication. Right,
I think it's funny that Gene chose that, because you're right. He could have said anything that we already know and have already seen.
That's what I expected.
Or maybe experienced live, watching him oh crap, the truss is messing up or whatever. But no, he chose to go with that.
Yeah.
Which is funny because Gene's so open.
Yeah.
He'll say pretty much anything.
Yeah, he has no shame.
I think.
And didn't we hear somebody? We heard somebody in the background, whoever was in the room with him while he's filming this, was like, ugh.
That was something different. That was something different. That was a different point.
Oh, was that not?
Yes,
okay.
and it's funny because I was going to mention that before you mentioned that, so
Okay.
it works out pretty well. So
what was that reaction?
Somebody had asked him, "Hey, if you were to do I think the question was along the lines of, if you were to do a Kiss time capsule, what would you put in? Like, what would be the one item?" And Gene, without question, said, "My schmeckle."
Oh, yes.
And somebody in the background just went, like, you could tell there was somebody who's not like close with Gene, or maybe they didn't expect that.
Or something.
Yeah, somebody who's like, in behind the scenes making sure that this is all going well. He says that, they're just like, oh my gosh,
and they're like,
it was
it's
so
live,
funny.
We can't cut it out.
It was so funny. Same thing happened during the pay-per-view.
Oh yeah,
on December 2nd, when Gene said my schmeckle. He's like, Gene, we're live. People hear. He's like, I don't care. My life's out there. We did the show. I was doing plastic surgery on the TV show. What have I got to lose? No shame here. So Gene is an open book.
Yeah.
And I love the idea that people have of Gene, where he's some sort of, very serious, stoic individual. It's like Gene's a character, man.
He is, yeah.
He's cool. He's laid back. He's chill. He's relaxed. Yeah. He likes to have fun as long as he's in good company.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, if you're someone who's going to have a certain attitude, then he'll give you the Gene Simmons stick. But he's a really cool dude.
It is an act overall.
And they chose some really good questions.
Yeah, they really did. And there actually was a question. I can't even remember what the question was at this point, but there was a question from.
Oh, Rich Kosak?
Yes. I was like, Mr. Speed, we know him.
Yes, Rich Kosak.
I know, he just like casually said the name and asked the question. It was something about Kiss album covers, I think.
Yep.
But I was like, oh, that's so cool that they chose a question from Rick. We know him.
Exactly. I wonder if he even knew who Rich Kosak was, if he knew that name. Yeah. I know he's met him and he knows who he is, but like, I wonder if that name rung a bell. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. We heard Rich, and I was like, oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, we met Rich, a couple times at Kiss Expos and stuff.
Yeah, and Mr. Speed, of course, is great. I want to see Mr. Speed
or
another Kiss tribute band this year.
Yeah.
That's what I want, because even though we can't see the real Kiss, I know these tribute bands are still going. Mr. Speed's on their 30th anniversary tour right now.
That is crazy.
I know. Kiss has been around 50 and they've been around 30.
That's crazy.
So I want to see Mr. Speed.
They've been around for over half the amount of time that the real Kiss was. That's crazy.
It's wild to think about.
Yeah, it is.
And I would love to go see them.
They're fantastic.
They are.
They were the first Kiss tribute band I ever saw.
Me too.
And the best.
Yep.
No offense, because I saw one or two more at Expos after that. And they were good. They were all great. But no one has compared.
Well, Mr. Speed, they're dedicated.
Yeah.
Rich is really good at what he does. He takes it very seriously. Respectfully, he takes it very seriously as much as he needs to.
Yeah.
And has done a really good job.
He is truly the Paul Stanley of his.
Whenever I see him, I'm like, hey, Star Child 2.0. That's my nickname for him, because whenever I see him on stage, if I don't blink twice, I'm like, I'm looking at the Star Child for real, man.
He has that energy.
Yeah, I love it.
Great.
But it was cool that he was mentioned in the in the live stream.
Another thing that he mentioned in passing when somebody was asking about his family was Nick's music career or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just really want to know who. Apparently, he's anonymous and wants to remain that way, but does have music out there under some kind of pseudonym. And I'm just so curious. I just want to know if there's a way that we can track it down.
Didn't he mention that at the December 2nd show?
New York, yeah.
Because he was talking about, music. I think they were all asked about their musical projects.
Yep.
And Nick's like, well, I do have some music out there. I'm keeping it anonymous. So if you can find it, good job, but good luck. And that was 4 months ago, 3 or 4 months ago. So we still haven't figured out what his pseudonym is. So if anybody is hearing music, and I mean, it's kind of it'd be impossible to know, because he could not even be singing.
Right, yeah, we don't even know what it is.
It could be all instrumentals.
Yeah.
And if it is singing, it could be vocal modulation. It could be anything, so
he could just be producing electronic music. It might not even, I don't see that, but.
And I wonder if it's because he's Gene's son.
Yeah.
And he knows that there are just Kiss podcasters that are just willing to just waiting to pick it apart and dive too deep into it.
And he knows he'll get all the crap for being a nepotism baby or whatever.
A
You
nepo,
know what
but
I
yeah.
mean?
See, that's bullcrap. I
Yeah.
hate that
No.
argument. I
Yeah.
hate that argument. It's such ridiculous. It's like, why can't people just be people?
Right.
I mean, like, of course,
Like in certain areas of life, I understand, but like in creative fields, like it's natural that
art
somebody.
is art.
It's well, yeah, and it's natural, honestly, that somebody that comes from a musical family is gonna be musical. Not that it happens every time, but it happens a
Right.
lot.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like growing up around that stuff, it's natural that you're gonna
Well, if
want
I
to
was
do
growing up
that.
at Kiss shows, I'd be like, damn, this is dope.
And like all the other, kids, like Sophie, we know has made a lot of her own music and is now writing a lot of music for
Successfully.
popular artists.
Yeah.
Gene was talking about that in the live too, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously we know Evan. We were literally just listening to Amber Wild as we were setting up.
Yep.
And so, yeah, obviously it's a normal thing, but, that's something that he might have considered too, is he didn't want to just deal with all of that
And I don't blame
drama,
him. I hate that, though. I really do. Because, I mean, I feel, on one hand, it's a nice push because people know your name and, and
I
you,
understand.
you have an audience kind of
you do
already
get a
there.
leg up. I do get it, but people push it too far.
But that leg can be kicked right out from underneath you because people will use that as an excuse to tear you down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they will. And they also, like, you're always going to live in your parents' shadow as well. Like, even though it might get you out there more because it gives you that edge, you're never going to be seen as your own person. Like, you're always going to be so-and-so's son, so-and-so's daughter,
Absolutely. And as a Kiss fan, I try to, break that apart. Like, obviously, I love Evan because he is, he's Paul's son, so there's already, like, an affinity for him because, his dad is my favorite singer, my favorite songwriter and performer. But at the same time, if he writes a shit song, it sucks. You know what I mean? If it's good, it's great.
Yeah,
it's great, not because he's Paul's son. It's great because it's great.
Exactly.
And I think some people have a hard time, separating those two.
Right, definitely.
Because this isn't like, being a judge or a cop, being a chief of police and then making your son, some snot-nosed kid, the new chief of police. It's like, wait, what? That, no, that's not how this works.
Yeah, in other
this is
areas
different. This
of
is
life,
this is music.
Yeah,
this is art.
In other areas of life, it makes more sense to be upset about, but in artistic fields, not as much.
Yeah, so I would like to hear this music that Nick is putting out and releasing, but at this point, I don't think there's any hope or any chance of finding it just because of how difficult it would be.
Unless he decides to make it public. But if anybody has leads, let us know.
For real, yeah.
Another interesting thing that he mentioned a couple of times in the live was his film company.
Yeah, which I'm glad he never talks about it. So, or at least I don't hear about it. So.
I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear it. Simmons Hamilton.
Who is Hamilton?
Well, I mean, I don't know who the guy is, but it's obviously in conjunction with someone else who's funding this and who's also taking part.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So Gene, it's been rumored, not really rumored, but it's been confirmed for a few years. I feel like that Gene is going to start his own company and was going to be doing more like either monster films or sci-fi films or films like that. And so yeah, it was really cool to hear him mention that. What was it for you that stood out?
Yeah, well, he confirmed that they have their first film is coming out.
Deep Water or whatever.
Deep Water.
Deep Water.
I can't remember if he gave a date or not. I think it was this year though.
Did he really? For sure, I might have missed that.
I think so, but then he said like they're already like there's a next one that's gonna come out, and then they're already working on the third one after that. So they're already like really putting stuff out. And one of them, he said he's working with somebody who's worked on like Marvel movies, is what I heard.
He said
Marvel comic book guy.
He said a Marvel comic book guy.
Yeah, so I don't know fully what he means by that. If
that would be
somebody
really cool.
Who worked on movies or just is into the comics, I don't know. But...
And he was particularly vague about that. He said the third movie, I'm working with a Marvel comic book guy who is doing some really fun stuff.
Yeah.
Or is going to do a really fun thing.
Yeah.
That was his thing,
right.
Which makes me think. That was such a weird way to put it. It makes me think there's something big there.
Right, yeah.
Something is happening with that one in particular.
And if he specifically chose to call him a Marvel comic book guy and we're doing something cool, that makes me think.
It makes me think it's like superhero level. Either that or it's more like a person with mutant powers or like the Force. Not like the Force, but you know what I mean? Something cool like that.
Supernatural-ish like that.
Which I would like.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see what this does because we always think of guys like Gene and Paul as just being singers, songwriters, musicians, and performers. And these guys want to do so much more.
Yeah.
And these guys are thinking big.
Yeah. And now they have the time to.
And now they have the freedom to.
Yeah.
So I think that one of the big things for me from this live stream was just getting to hear about all the fun things that Gene wants to do and is getting to do.
Yeah.
And is going to do.
Yeah, and he was talking about how his schedule is already so full. Like, he is not... Since December 2nd, he is not. He mentioned that they did, as a family, kind of go away on a trip for a while.
They went to Whistler.
Yes, and like had their relaxation time. But it sounds like ever since then he's been working on new stuff. And that's just
exciting.
That's really cool to see.
The one unfortunate thing was that he said that he wasn't going to be doing any appearances and conventions and appearances.
He didn't necessarily say he's not going
none yet.
to. He said none yet. We haven't like booked anything. He said the phone is ringing off the hook, but nothing is scheduled. But he didn't take it off the table completely. So I think he's just not a priority at the moment.
I don't see Gene doing basic things like that anymore.
Probably
like
not.
I don't see Gene.
Probably not unless it's a very special circumstance.
I don't see Gene at a Comic-Con like everybody else, setting up a booth and just waiting for folks to come in. Gene's going to want to do. He did say he wanted to do another Vegas event.
Yes.
Someone said, "Hey, Gene, would you consider doing one of those Vegas events you did last year?" He goes, "You know what? I did not think that folks would have liked that so much and would keep asking for that. So I might actually do that again." Yeah. I guess he had fans out in Vegas. They all had dinner and maybe did some kind of recording thing and whatever it was epic and awesome. I'm sure it cost like $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, but those are the things that Gene's more interested in.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to sit at a table and just sign your, we're going to do something cool together that nobody else is going to do. No one's going to sit with you and have dinner with you. No one's going to get in the studio with you, record a song, and let you actually take that home and have forever.
Which is something he's doing again right now.
Me and you.
Promoting that.
I think he's doing one more. Yeah, at the very end.
That,
he said, go to Gene Simmons, which there's always a plug. I love that about Gene.
Yeah.
When Gene says, anyway, go to www, I'm like, here we go. What is it now?
Yeah.
Gene said, go to GeneSimmonsRecording.com. And come hang out with me in the studio. We'll record a song together. You'll take it home. And so those are the things that Gene's more interested in doing.
And I get why he prefers to do that
Which
stuff.
sucks for us.
I was going to say, it sucks for the people who can't afford experiences like that. But on his end, I understand why it's more fulfilling to connect with fans more directly like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's so like shallow and surface level when you meet somebody at a convention like that. Usually, now not always, but usually
it's a 5-second high and by.
Exactly.
Boom.
Usually, you do not get time. You either you get your autograph or you get a quick picture if you get lucky or if you've paid for it.
Well, I've had issues in the past where you don't even get the things. You're almost risk not getting the things you paid for because of the way things are ran.
Yeah, and it's just a mess. So I understand why he does that.
I think Gene wants more control.
Yeah, he does.
Respectfully.
Yeah. Another interesting question that somebody asked him during the live was, do you have any regrets from your time in Kiss and your life and whatever? And something he mentioned that kind of took me off guard was that he regretted not having he called it a come to Jesus moment, intervention kind of thing, basically. He regretted not having that serious conversation with Peter and Ace sooner.
Regarding drug use.
Regarding drug and alcohol abuse. Obviously, they had it eventually. But he said, there were early warning signs and, they could have said something sooner and they just kind of ignored it. And he wishes they would have pulled them aside much, much sooner and said, like, you're going to ruin your life. You're going to ruin the band.
Yeah.
And he said, he even said, I'm sorry for that.
That was very interesting because that's not something that you typically hear.
No, it's not.
Just because, people, again, we take these quotes from media where Gene talks about their drug use and all that and how it affected the band, which are facts, and people twist it and make it into like slander.
Yeah.
And you don't really hear Gene say, as his friend, as his bandmate.
Yeah, I should have helped sooner.
I should have stepped in and said, hey, look, before this gets any worse.
Yeah.
Before we record Dynasty in 5 years, maybe we should fix this now.
Right.
And they didn't do that.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think Gene would ever admit that before, because again, fans are going to, now they're going to blame Gene and Paul for, well, it's your fault that he was a drug addict, and that's not what Gene's saying.
No.
Gene's saying, well, hindsight is 2020, and in retrospect, maybe knowing what I know now,
right?
Maybe I should have stepped up and maybe took them by the shoulders and really got in their face and said, you need help, you need, as opposed to just either letting it happen or waiting until it got to the point where you're like, look, now it's where you need to do your own thing.
By that point, it was too late.
Late. So I think fans will take that as
I think he said it at the right time. I think
he said it very respectfully.
Yeah, and I think saying it now, I get in the way he said it. And it's funny because ultimately, who knows if that would have even helped, if that would have even worked? You know what I mean? Because a lot of times interventions like that, conversations like that, don't ultimately work. So it's possible that wouldn't have even made a difference. But just I get it as a person knowing that you could have tried sooner and you didn't. Yeah. I get why that would weigh on you over time.
Yeah, I think Gene at this point is wondering, well, maybe if Paul and I had made more of an effort to, get in there and really change things, maybe the band wouldn't have broken up.
Yeah.
And maybe things wouldn't have gone the way they did. But again, you can only look at that in the past.
Yeah.
And it sucks because, as fans with the internet especially, we're constantly just dissecting every little move these guys make and have made in the past. And one of the big ones is, revolving around the death of Eric Carr and how Gene and Paul handled that.
Mm-hmm.
And people think that Gene and Paul just put Eric off to the side, let him die, and moved on.
Yeah.
And the reality is that Gene and Paul said, you need to get better, focus on you.
Right.
We're going to go ahead and keep moving forward so that when you're ready to come back, we can just keep going. Eric Carr dying was not on the table. That was not in the cards. That was not in their thoughts. So when it happened, it was like,
that was not an option. It was like, you're going to get better because you have to.
Yes, you have to get better because we have an album to record and a tour to go on. And if you're constantly touring and recording with us right now, you're never going to get better.
So rest, get better, come back.
All of a sudden he dies and it's like, okay, this was something more than anybody ever could have realized.
Nobody knew. And
maybe if we had known that he was going to die, hey, by the way, guys, in 45 days, he's not going to be here. So if you want to do something, say something or whatever, now's the time.
Right.
And life is always like that. Everybody in our life has someone that has passed away that you wish you could go back, say something, do something differently.
Yeah.
But you can't.
Yeah.
And so I think for fans to just, we take these pieces of information that we think we know as if we were there and twist them into our own narrative. And that sucks for guys like Gene and Paul who, at the end of the day, they're just trying to keep the ship alive. Yeah. And for us.
Right.
For us.
Right.
I wasn't even born then. They were still doing it for me. You know what I mean? Because it's like, but to hear Gene say that, be like, hey, I wonder what would have happened if maybe we had gotten in their face a little more about it and tried a little harder. What could have happened?
Gave him that tough level.
Very interesting. Because again, Gene's answering these questions. He's reading them and answering them back to back to back. So he didn't really take a whole bunch of time on it like we are right now.
Yeah.
But he still said it and he still meant every word. And to even acknowledge that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard him say anything like that before.
Yeah. I was almost glad that we didn't watch this live because we were pausing every 30 seconds. Every time he answered a question,
it was like, whoa.
Gotta pause to discuss what just happened.
For real.
So I feel like it would have been a little too much watching it live without stopping.
No doubt.
This is kind of random and totally different topic, but one of the other things he mentioned is somebody asked if he spit blood.
Oh, let's go.
On the Look It Up tour. Without makeup. And he said he did.
He said yes.
Once. Just once, right? In Lisbon?
He said at least once.
At least once.
Early on in the tour.
Yeah.
He said that he did mention Lisbon. He said the first show we played without makeup was in Lisbon, Portugal. I said, yes, correct.
Yeah.
I'm ready to fact check now.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. And he goes, we played our first show in Lisbon, Portugal with no makeup. And at one point during the show, I did spit blood. And it just didn't feel right because of the makeup.
Yeah.
Which, makes perfect sense. Yeah. And so eventually he retired. Now, we all know he did breathe fire consistently.
Right. That's
throughout until, the Revenge tour and all that. But apparently, the blood spitting did make an appearance, according to him. Now, this is what I want to know. Because I've seen footage of Lisbon. There's a couple clips on Kissology of, I think, Creatures of the Night. And maybe the song Lick It Up, or I don't know. There's a couple clips of Lisbon, but of course none of them would be the blood spitting. But I'm curious as to, I want to know from everybody out there, are you aware of any instance where Gene spit blood on the Lick It Up tour?
Even if it wasn't Lisbon, if it was anywhere with no makeup. And if so, do you have photos or videos? Because why have we never seen this?
And maybe it's one of those things where I did know, and I have seen a picture, I've just forgotten.
Forgotten it.
Because there's just so much always happening when, you see pictures online, you're reading constant facts and watching different things. There's no way to possibly retain everything.
Right.
But as far as I can tell right now in this moment, I've never seen a video clip of Gene on the Lick It Up tour or Animalized or Asylum or whatever. Yeah. Asylum, imagine that. Spitting blood. I just can't imagine that. Yeah, spitting blood on his pink glittery outfit.
Stop, that's the funniest thing ever.
With his big bouffa hairdo. Anyway, I don't know. So if anybody has ever seen clips or video
Yeah.
or pictures of Gene
Please
spitting
share.
blood, I would love to see that because Gene, he was very sure. And he was correct in Lisbon, so,
Yeah.
and I know that sometimes they have gotten different things, wrong or maybe have mixed certain events up. But that was one that I was like, man, he sounds really
Yeah.
confident,
He sounds sure.
and he's got at least half of his facts right.
Yeah.
So that's
I don't
crazy.
I don't know why he would recall that if it wasn't true. It's so specific, you
Yeah,
know?
and wasn't there one other thing he recalled talking about? Someone asked what was the weirdest object you had signed,
Oh,
and
yes.
someone said, and Gene said that it was a prosthetic leg.
Yeah.
He said from the foot up to the mid thigh, someone while they were recording Kiss Alive 2 at the
Yep.
LA Forum threw their leg up or whatever on stage, and they signed it or whatever, and there was a person being held up by somebody in the crowd, and that leg was the first thing. I think it's funny that that was the moment that he chose to remember
Yeah.
because that was probably like what 45 years ago,
Yeah.
and maybe it was one of those moments where it's like we've made it, we're Kiss, you know
Right.
what I mean?
It's
Here
just
we
such a crazy
3 nights
moment.
at the LA Forum, and here we are playing a sold out show, recording
Signing
our second
somebody's
live
leg.
album, and here's somebody throwing a leg up on stage. Like, who are we? But that's actually happened at least twice
Yes.
since then. There was one event in '03 I know of on the Kiss Aerosmith tour where someone threw their leg up on stage, and I think the band signs it or whatever. But when we saw Kiss in March 2019 on the road tour, someone had thrown their leg up on stage as well, and they even took a picture of it in the final
Yeah.
picture where the band
Yeah.
bows.
Yeah. He's holding it, isn't he?
Tommy's holding it.
Yes.
Actually,
I remember that
there's
now.
been a few times where people have thrown their leg up on stage to have Kiss either take a picture with it, sign it, or whatever. But I thought it was funny that that was the one that he remembered, considering that it happened just a few years ago.
Yeah.
But no, that was just one more thing I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's kind of it. The only other thing that he kept stressing at like multiple times in the live stream, when people were kind of asking just kind of life questions and advice and whatnot, he just kept stressing hard work and how
Oh
that's
yeah,
the only thing that will get you anywhere in life, no matter how much talent you have. It's all about hard work. Somebody was asking for advice on, like if you don't have natural talent at an instrument, can you still get really good at it? And he was like, absolutely. Like if you spend 10,000 hours,
yeah.
doing anything, you're going to get pretty good at it. You just got to put in the work if you really love it.
The difference between someone who dreams and someone who does is the doing.
Yes.
Is the doing.
Yeah.
There's a couple Kiss lyrics I like. One Paul says, "When others only talked, I did it."
Mm,
That's on I think Psycho Circus,
mm.
and then there's a lyric. Well, it's a lyric, yeah, a lyric on one of the songs on Psycho Circus, and then there's a similar lyric on one of the songs on Sonic Boom, where he says, you get to do it.
Yeah.
So it's very simple advice, but yeah,
But
it
it's not easy advice. That's why not a
no,
lot of people do it.
no, exactly, but it's also very straightforward and it's very real.
Yeah.
Doing is doing is key.
Yeah.
If you don't do it, it'll never happen.
Right.
But my biggest takeaway from that is that Gene is happy.
Yeah.
I was gonna say he's healthy, but he was actually going through a cold.
Yeah, he was
You
coughing.
could tell his voice was a little raspy, and he was coughing a couple times, so he must be getting over a cold.
Yeah.
But either way, Gene
He seems well though.
is he's happy.
Yeah.
He's well. He's got big things, big
He's
plans.
active. Yeah.
The biggest thing for me being his shows with his band.
Yeah.
We talked about how he's playing April 26th in Sao Paulo, Brazil. He also has shows in Finland, Sweden, Germany, and the Netherlands,
Hmm.
going from July to August. So
Nice.
these are all just European, one South American date, and then several European dates.
Yeah.
But to see Gene active in that way is great. And I think
Yeah.
he even said no U.S. shows for now,
Yeah.
because he was going to play with Deep Purple, but that fell through. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that he can get on somebody else's tour
Yeah.
or just do a really small spread out tour because he
Yeah.
could play up here at Old National Center,
Right, like Ace did.
like Ace did.
Yeah.
There or
Oh,
like
I'm
where we
sorry.
saw the warning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
Brown
said Old
County,
National Center.
Old National,
Yeah.
wherever, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, like these small venues.
Yeah.
He could totally do that.
Yeah.
And he would get crowds here
Definitely.
for sure.
Absolutely.
I mean, we just saw Ace, and there's always the Kiss Expos, and
Yep.
so we're in rock and roll territory. So
Yeah.
I would love to see Gene come to the U.S. to do some shows, but for now, we'll just have to wait for these South American dates and these European dates. I know that I am going to be watching those
Oh, yeah.
clips every single day. I
Yeah.
want to know who's in the band. I want to know what he's looking like,
Yeah.
what his
What
stage
the
looks
set
like.
list is.
I want to know what songs he's playing because
Yes.
I have a feeling we're going to get some really good vintage stuff, classic stuff, some B-sides, obscure stuff. that we don't usually see in the Kiss set list like he did in 2017.
Yeah.
And I missed that tour, so that's why I want to see it so bad. But I can see him playing songs like Charisma, All the Way, and different songs that we just don't usually get from Kiss. And so I'm excited to see what he plays. I
Yeah,
really
same.
am. But I want to talk about some other members of the band now because we've gone on about Gene for about a half hour. But he's by far not the only one in Kiss who has things happening and is active. So Paul has been more active on social media than I thought. I haven't been
Yeah.
keeping up with him on Twitter,
Yeah.
but Paul has been working out a lot.
Yes.
He's been in the gym. He's been getting yoked up, folks.
Yeah.
I mean, he was already pretty shredded, but Paul just keeps at it, man. He says,
Yeah.
"What'd he say? If I'm not working out, I'm out working."
Yes.
And I was like, okay, there you go. So these guys are not slowing down
Nope.
even
I
after
love it.
retirement. Paul's main thing now, it seems, is painting. Did you see where he was painting guitars?
Yes,
You
I
saw
did
that?
see that on Instagram.
That I wanted
today.
to mention because
Yeah.
that was super cool because he did a couple art showings and a couple art galleries. I mean, we all know he's going to keep doing canvas prints, but he posted a picture of him painting on guitars and using that as his new canvas.
It
And
was
I
so
thought,
cool.
wow, now that's cool.
Yeah, that was really cool to see. And I hope he continues to do, because he was doing like a gallery in Florida and like
Correct.
he's gone multiple different places. So I'd love to see him continue doing different galleries across the country, because if he gets anywhere even close to us, that'd be so awesome to go see.
Yeah, that would be cool to go to. He won't talk to you though unless you buy one.
No, that's not. And I don't even need him to. I would just love to see his
Oh
work
yeah,
in
see
person.
his work. Yeah.
That'd be so cool to
Oh,
see.
to go to a gallery.
Yeah, just to go to the gallery. Even
absolutely.
if we don't get a chance to see Paul himself, it would just be really cool.
Right. Yeah, he did do a. He appeared at his art show in Florida in February, and then I also believe he went to his gallery showing in Toronto, and that was like last week,
Yeah.
week before, very early March. So that was really cool. He's got an art gallery over here in Toronto, or one up in Toronto, one in Florida.
Yeah.
Who knows what else he's going to be doing? But I'm curious to see if Paul will do anything music anymore.
I think he will. I think he will eventually. I don't think he's in a rush to.
I don't think he's in a rush either. But I could have swore that like didn't a year or two ago it was confirmed that Soul Station had been recording or finished recording.
Oh, really?
Didn't he talk about there being like a DVD at one point that was going to come
Oh,
out?
I don't know. I don't remember.
And all this stuff, just I had not heard anything about it.
No, we've only got the one album.
This the one album, which was great. It was a great album.
Yeah.
But it really seemed like there was going to be a
live
follow-up.
shows too.
They did. They did. And then of course COVID hit.
Right.
So that didn't get to go any further than that.
Yeah.
But and maybe because it was such a big band, but you could get new people, whatever. It's as long as you got Paul and Eric, you're good.
Yeah.
So I would just like to see him do more music projects and be able to, because I like Paul as a songwriter.
Yeah.
I like Paul as a singer. I like Paul as a performer and a guitar player. And whether it's rock or soul or whatever it is, I just want to hear more Paul singing. I'm loving this new Ace record. It's so great. And it just makes me want to see what Gene and Paul could do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Ace, I know, is going to be doing his Origins album. He had Paul on one Origins album. I would love for him to have Gene and Paul on the next one. Bring in Eric Singer, bring in Peter Criss. Like I don't know. I'm just excited to see what these guys do now that they have their free time.
Yeah.
Now that Kiss is off tour, they have free time. Ace has a hit record out. It's like what's going to keep happening? I'm excited to see what's happening.
Yeah, and I'm excited that things are already happening. You know what I mean? Like that we're only a couple months into, or 3 months into the year, and we're already seeing movement and things happening, and they're staying active, which is really encouraging, and means we'll have more things to talk about this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to kind of talk about Ace a little more, because I'm sure most folks are probably getting tired of hearing about 10,000 volts. I know I'm not. I love the album. I think it's great, and I'm just so happy for Ace because the album has done so well as far as like on the charts. I mean, the album is number one. It reached number one on the current rock albums chart. It was number one on the current hard music albums. As far as the Billboard 200 goes, it was number 72.
Yeah.
So not just in top 200, but top 100.
Yeah, that's great.
It was like number 4 in album sales, and like I mean, I was seeing all these like chart positions, and I was so happy for Ace, so happy for Steve, and happy for David Julian, Joe Casada, Matt Starr, all the people who contributed to this album. I'm just so happy.
Yeah,
I've listened to the album a lot. I still listen to it. I think it's great. I know Ace has some shows coming up, and then he's going to be doing Origins Volume 3. So we're blessed, man.
Yeah.
We're having fun.
Yep. We're still being fed.
We're still being fed in 2024. But like I said, I just now that things are a little bit more, lucid and kind of like more free and liquid, I just want to know what's going to happen because now that the band isn't, we always talked about, oh, what if A shows up or Peter shows up on stage with Kiss and makeup, and it's like that would never happen.
Right.
That Kiss.
And now we know that it was never.
And now, yes, but now, again, we had Ace and Paul on Origins. Gene and Ace collaborated on a couple of Ace albums, writing songs, playing bass. It's like, dude, who knows what possibilities are, because that to me is what I want to see.
Yeah.
Forget the makeup and all that stuff. Just make it about the music.
Yeah.
And it would be really cool to see these guys get together. I mean, even like Tommy Thayer, Gene, and Paul, or whoever, getting together and doing stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
Yeah, just doing something creative. Yeah.
The one person that we really haven't heard a whole lot from, is Peter Criss. And I would hope that in 2024, Peter would book some more appearances and some more, just do more appearances and do more autograph signings and photo opportunities and things like that, because there have been a couple opportunities where he's come around here or in nearby states and we just couldn't even do it. There was one up in Indianapolis that was going to be featuring Peter, and then because of COVID, there was some variant that he had to cancel, which rightfully so. And I was really hoping that it was going to get rescheduled, and it never did. And so I'm just really hoping that at some point I'm going to hear about Peter Criss making an appearance, signing autograph, meeting fans, Q&A, whatever it is. I don't care. Just to be able to shake his hand, say thank you, get a picture, and just, be in his presence and be able to have that moment would be the most to me, because I've met 3 of the 4 original members. I've met Eric and Tommy. I've met Bruce. I just really want to meet Peter Criss and, shake his hand, or at least say hi. I probably won't be able to shake his hand because of, the way protocols are now, but just to be in his presence and just give him a salute, say hi, love you, Pete. Don't call him Pete, call him Peter. Love you, Peter. Thank you. That would be awesome.
Yeah, definitely. It'll happen.
I hope so.
I think it will.
I know Jeb would love that as well. So speaking of like appearances and things like that, maybe he could appear at a Kiss Expo. Because we keep wondering if, the weather's getting warm out. It's sunshine's coming out, spring is right around the corner. I am really hoping for Indie Expo.
Yeah.
And I know we're not the only ones. I know people who are just dying for Indie Expo.
Yeah.
I need to get out.
We need to connect with other Kiss fans.
I need to get out. I need to stretch my legs. I need to empty that wallet.
I was about to say those exactly.
Yeah, I need to make a couple ATM trips. You know what I mean? No, it's like I need to get out, see my friends. I want to, everybody to get together.
Yeah.
And I'm like, literally, guys, I'm about this close to doing my own Kiss Expo.
Yeah.
And doing my own thing. I just don't know how to actually do it and who to get, but because I'm just a random dude. But like, I want, even if it was just 5 Kiss fans, 5 Kiss fans getting together, sharing a jeans, like that would be an event for me. You know what I mean? A successful event. I just want there to be events where Kiss fans get together, have fun, and either get just to buy and trade, or see a tribute band, or meet somebody who's been a part of the engine in some way, and be able to just share that with everybody. Who knows? Hopefully, 2024 is the time. But do you have anything else, babe, to add as far as like Kiss news and Kiss things like that?
Nothing comes to mind. I think we've pretty much covered it. I
think we had thought about how Bruce was writing a book.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
Bruce was going to be he mentioned it.
He mentioned it.
Nothing confirmed yet, but that was one thing that he said he wanted to do.
Yeah.
He said, you know what, I kind of want to slow down and do my own thing and maybe even write a book.
Yeah.
And I was like, please
do that. Please. I need to hear Bruce's perspective on his time in Kiss.
We've had Gene's, Paul's, Peter, Ace's, and okay, great, fine. The people's whose perspectives and stories I'm most interested in, Bruce, Eric, Tommy.
Facts.
Those are the only 3 stories that I'm interested in hearing. Gene and Paul, Peter and Ace will tell you anything.
And we've heard it. I love it.
And we've already heard it.
I need to know. And
I want to know Bruce, Tommy, and Eric.
And I just know that it'd be very
insightful.
Truthful and honest.
So insightful, honest, and mesmerizing, and eye-opening.
Like a balanced perspective. You know what I mean? Because they have that role as almost an outsider, you know what I mean? As like somebody coming into an existing band. I feel like you see things differently than somebody who's been in it through all the changes.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
You kind of get a bird's eye view of what's actually going on.
And plus, with Gene, Paul, Peter, and Ace, those guys have, their stories are tainted with ego.
Right.
They're all four
Ego
original members.
Yeah.
They all four want to take credit for starting the band.
Right.
We all know that Bruce, Eric, and Tommy can't take credit for starting the band.
Right, and never would.
And they know they can't either. So what we get from them is pretty much
just facts.
It's facts.
That's what
you know what I mean?
I hope Bruce was serious. I'm sure that's probably going to be a somewhat distant future kind of thing, since
probably
when he said it, it didn't sound like he had started writing anything. It was just like something he wants to do. So who knows how fast that will actually happen, but I would love to read that 100%.
But in my mind, that means pre-orders.
Yeah.
You get the book. Yeah. You get autographed copies. Yeah. You get him on podcasts and doing
Maybe
interviews.
He'll do like a small book tour or something.
That's what I want. Book signing tours, in-store appearances, meeting fans.
Meeting Bruce Kulick again, but at a bookstore.
We could just be dreaming it up. I mean, we could just be making up our own fun. We could just be making it up, and it never happens. But guess what? If it does, I'll be happy.
We're manifesting.
If it doesn't, it doesn't. Whatever, we're still fine. But if it happens, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Because again, I would love to support Bruce on that book.
Yes.
Reading that book, I know tons of fans who would love to do that as well. Jeb's a huge Bruce fan. You're a huge Bruce fan. All my Circle of Kiss fan friends are fans of Bruce. That would be the ultimate.
Agreed.
And I know that for the broader, Kiss fan and rock and roll audience, a book from Eric and Tommy probably wouldn't seem as exciting. Mm-hmm. But I know for a fact that their perspectives and their stories and, whatever they would have to say would be so interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about over 20 years of history, both in and out of the band, working behind the scenes, in front of the scenes.
Yeah.
Who knows what?
There's so many stories that we don't
working
know.
With Peter and Ace, working with, all the other members of the band that they've worked with would be just incredible to hear. So I'm not really sure. Yeah, like you said, that's pretty much it as far as current events go. But if we missed anything, please in the comments let me know.
Yes.
Because maybe we could chat back and forth in the comments, or maybe I could look into it more. Maybe I just don't know, because I don't claim to know everything about Kiss, and I just love keeping up with social media. And it's been a while since we've done one of these episodes, just talking about current events. So if I miss something, let me know. Leave in the comments. But in any case, I do want to get to one of my favorite parts of the show, which is all about Kiss collecting. This is the Collector's Corner. So I teased in the last episode with Rob and Brant how I had an unusual item to show this week.
Yes.
So typically I show items that are, official Kiss merchandise, something new, something old, fine. This is more Kiss adjacent. It's not really merchandise, and it's definitely not official Kiss. But I think lots of Kiss fans are going to enjoy this. I don't think anybody's even heard of this. I've only just begun to learn about this.
Okay.
And so
I have no idea what this is.
So let me go ahead and just show it. So it's actually in this little folder right here. So I have right here Street Gang Productions stationery. Stationery meaning letterhead, envelope, business card, stuff like that. So Street Gang Productions is Eric Carr's production company, or was Eric Carr's production company that he had for his personal projects that were outside of Kiss.
Wow.
So now, again, I did not know about this until a couple years ago. I had a chance to purchase some Street Gang Productions, something like this, some Street Gang production items, and for whatever reason, just couldn't get it.
So cool.
Couldn't get it. Had to pass it up. But I had a chance this time to buy some, like I said, business card, envelope, just some stationery and some small marketing materials, promo items for Street Gang Productions. I thought I have to get this because I'm a huge Eric Carr fan.
Yeah.
And I wanted to learn more about this. And so, like I said, this is Eric Carr's production company that he had. Now,
his business card even says Eric Carr on it.
Yes, it's so Eric Carr. Cool. And actually, if you look at it and give it a feel, it's textured, I think.
Yep. And
it's
the
very...
logo is sparkly silver.
Very sparkly silver paint, ink. They're
very
really
cool.
quality.
And this is pristine.
Yeah.
This is there is not a spot or a rip on this white paper.
No coffee stain. There's no fold, no nothing. So I'm going to do my absolute best to keep it.
That's amazing.
To keep it in perfect shape. But basically, so he would put every non-Kiss project under Street Gang Productions.
Okay.
There was a couple bands that he was working with.
Wow.
He had was managing a band called New York.
Okay.
That he was producing with them. doing some demos. I know that he signed an all-female thrash metal band
Whoa.
called Harikari or
Wow.
Harikari, something like that. It makes me think of Harakiri, which is Japanese, but this was called Harikari, and they were an all-female thrash metal band that they didn't actually, make it big or anything, but he did demo some albums for them, recorded some music for them, and the thing is that because of his Kiss contract, he was not allowed to play or appear on any other musician's
Okay.
albums or anything. It was in his contract that you're in Kiss, you're
You're an only
only in
Kiss.
Kiss,
Yeah.
which was kind of not fair, but
Yeah.
whatever. It's just to make sure that you're focused on us.
Yeah.
But Eric Carr did slip in some background vocals
Oh,
on their albums, on their demos, and
that's
things like
amazing.
that, even though I wasn't supposed to.
Yeah.
Because I mean, come
What,
on,
what
it's
Gina Paul don't know won't hurt him.
exactly. Who's gonna find out? Well, whatever. It's after the
That's
fact. So,
hilarious.
so yeah, he was having some fun, working with other bands, doing his own thing, even though he wasn't really allowed to be a full member of Kiss.
Right.
He was just there to record albums
Right.
and perform shows. It wasn't like he was there in the writing process.
Right.
And
He's not making a lot of creative decisions.
no, and that bugged him because he
Yeah.
was having creative.
Yeah, he's a creative person.
He was
Yeah.
he was writing songs and,
Yeah.
and doing different things, and so Street Gang Productions was his way of sort of putting everything together. And then I don't know, I'll need the Kiss Army's help here, but this address here, 1414 6th Avenue, 19th floor, New York, New York. That address is extremely familiar. I don't know if that's Casablanca's office. I don't know if that's Bill Coyne's office or Howard Marks' office, but somebody was letting Eric use their office as his
Yeah.
for his address for his production company, which I thought was pretty cool. So even though he didn't have his own space necessarily, somebody was letting him use their space.
Wow.
So if anybody knows that address, let me know. Or are you going to look it up right now
I
for me?
am. I'm
Okay.
curious.
Daphne's on the case. She's going to look it up and give us some insight into some history. But either way, this was just a really cool item that I just had to buy, had to get very cheap. It's not like it's expensive, and I'm sure it's pretty rare at this point. But is your
It appears to be a hotel now.
oh, for sure.
I
Okay.
don't know if it.
Search like Howard Marks after that. Search Coins, something like that, and see if the results yield anything. Nothing.
No.
Interesting, for sure. Well, I know that it's relevant in some way, but either way, still really cool. Can I see that one more time? I think I'm going to try and get one of these little stand-ups here.
Oh,
and
display that.
Hopefully there is no glare, and I will just be able to display these nicely
Perfect.
and neatly. I did have it on red for Gene. I think I'll do orange now for Eric Carr.
I love it.
Did that change?
Yep.
Okay, I'm half colorblind. So anyway, the other thing I wanted to show this goes in relation with the Street Gang Productions. Okay. So the big thing that most fans might know about Eric Carr is that he had his own cartoon, the Rockheads.
Yes.
Remember those? Okay, so this is
cool.
the Rockheads. This is a cartoon that Eric Carr himself created, some characters that are in a band, and this was something that he also had put under the Street Gang Productions.
Yeah.
This was going to be a cartoon.
Yeah.
And I think a few years ago, they actually did get a trailer. You can go on YouTube and look up the Rockheads. There's like a trailer, a song, or something, but they did get something actually done.
So cool.
But this was one of the things that Eric had. This is the brainchild of Eric Carr, was this little cartoon with little band members. They're just heads. They're just heads with huge hair.
I love it.
And they rock.
Yeah, big shoes.
And they all have names.
So cute.
I'm gonna read this little back here and see if there's anything worth mentioning here. So yeah, it says that apparently at one point Hanna-Barbera Landmark Entertainment was showing strong interest in working with Eric and Gene on this to bring it to life through an animated series.
Can you imagine? That would have been so cool. I wish that could have happened.
This little piece of artwork right here is dated 86.
Wow.
At the bottom there, but it says. Meet the Rockheads, each with their own unique, fun, and sometimes mischievous personalities. They will take you on a journey filled with wild adventures and cool music. It says you can now enjoy the Rockheads through comics, music, and many other new product lines. So it seems like maybe there is something else out there that I'm not aware of.
Okay.
But either way, I wanted to do a little Eric Carr section here because, getting some street gang production stationary,
Yeah,
pretty cool.
that's
Again,
awesome.
this is the kind of stuff you're not going to see, not going to hear about, and this is the kind of things that I like to learn about.
Yeah.
I don't claim to know everything about Kiss at all, and one of the things that I love is learning more. I like that I don't know everything because then
Right.
you get to be like, ooh,
Yeah, there's more to dig
what's
into.
this?
Yeah.
And so, how many folks even knew that Eric Carr had his own production company? It's super awesome. So I wanted to show that as well as the Rockheads postcard there. And then you can see here, there's these two jars that have been sitting up front the entire episode, and they're labeled Indianapolis and Rosemont. So it's about time, I think, that I get these jars filled with confetti.
Yes, it is.
It has taken way too long for me to do this because these are the last two Kisses I ever saw, and so I'm kind of making it official now that I'm never going to see Kiss again. But as you guys know, I'm super weird, and for the last decade or so, I've been keeping most, not all, of the confetti that I keep at shows. I don't get confetti from every single show, but if I do get confetti from a show, I like to keep it and jar it. And now that I'm even more weird, I like to, create labels and get them labeled. And so, I want you to have Indianapolis, since it was obviously your last Kiss show.
Yes.
And even though I didn't get a lot of confetti,
we got some.
We got some confetti. So I'll just, they've been sitting in these bags for a while,
Waiting.
and it's time to put the confetti in the jars. And you can see I have a lot from Rosemont.
Yeah.
Rosemont, man, I was like, I have to just pack it all up and watch me like get it everywhere. But I thought it'd be cool to put the confetti in the jars on the channel. I was at some point going to do a whole separate video on just Kiss confetti, but as you guys know, I have a lot of videos that go up a lot, so I thought, you know what, I might just tack this on,
incorporate it into an episode,
make this part of the collector's
Not too
corner.
bad.
You're already done.
Well,
I'm
we
not
don't
even
have as
half.
much for Indy.
I know, but I'm not
We
even
had to
halfway.
steal all this from the floor on the way out, like as we were like walking out with this giant crowd of people, like trying to grab stuff as we walked.
Yeah, we were way up top.
Yeah, there was no confetti falling near us.
Yeah, no, we were not in the confetti rainstorm, which was unfortunate, but that's okay
we
because
have been in the past, and then
absolutely.
You were again for your last show, so
which was not expected,
right?
Because
in
Rosemont we were also way in the back, thinking that okay, we're just going to be up here, and then we ended up upgrading to 20th row and seeing Kiss. I still can't believe that happened.
Yeah.
And man, it feels like a lifetime ago. It really does. I kind of wish I still had that raw Rosemont feeling.
Yeah.
Of, getting home and being like, that just happened.
Yeah.
I was just there seeing Kiss with the boys.
Yeah, I was saying, seeing all your friends in person.
Jeb and I, man, that was just...
Yeah, that episode is still one of the best of you guys in the hotel after.
Oh, yeah.
Right after the show.
That was definitely one of the best. I'll take those here. And then, so now we have jars. Oh, don't put it down yet.
Oh, no?
Not yet, because... Oh, actually, so I almost forgot. I have this little itty bitty jar that I had to get custom made and specially made just for this moment. So I know it's so silly. Well, okay, here, okay. I'm always talking about the stuff that I get, but let's talk about some tips for you guys, okay? Because when I wanted to get these things jarred, all my confetti jarred, I could not find jars that didn't have a raised label or logo on the side. They were always embossed or always, blown glass on the side that has some
like a mason jar that has
a
the
mason jar.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want that. I want something flat all the way around. So I found these on Amazon. Yeah. If you guys need jars, maybe you're making jelly. I don't know what you guys are doing. If you guys need jars, like this, I'll leave a link from Amazon in the description so that you guys can get nice, cheap jars. Plain jars, plain lids. So this jar is for this confetti, and this was confetti that fell from the ceiling at the last Kiss show on December 2nd, 2023. And my buddy Rick sent this to me along with a few other people. He sent us some streamers from the New York show.
I love it.
And that I thought was super cool of him to do.
Shout out to Rick. Check out his channel. It's All For You Demons.
It's All For You Demons. Great. Every Friday you can expect a video full of fun, full of Kiss, full of nostalgia. It's absolutely awesome. And so he sent me a couple pieces of streamers, and I thought, well, it didn't really make sense, nor do I have room for
another full size
a full size jar. And I found a website. Again, I'll leave a link in the description. It looks jank. It looks fake. They are real.
Yeah, obviously.
They made this. I said I need just what did I say? I said I need a 1.7 ounce jar, or I need a jar with a lid that's 1 inch radius. Whatever it was, they said you got it for $1.36.
That's it.
Yeah, it was like $1.36, $2.
That's amazing.
And then tax. It was more. It was more for shipping.
But still,
it was like $10 to get this thing, but it was like $1 or $2 to get the jar. I thought they actually did it. So here it is, this tiny ass jar, and I'm going to put all 2 streamers in here. Now,
I love it.
Will I get a label for it? I don't know, because he did send one that says Kiss, Madison Square Garden,
cute.
December 2nd, 2023. Purple and white streamer. So Rick actually made this label. Maybe I'll get it put on. I don't know what I'll do with it, but for now, I'll put it inside so that at least you can see on the side.
I love it.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to do it the other way.
There you go.
Maybe if I can. There we go. Perfect.
That looks nice.
So now it's like its own internal label.
I love it.
And you'll notice I didn't plan this, but I like how it turned out. All these jars and up there have silver lids.
Oh, that one has
This
gold.
one is a golden lid because it's the last show.
I like
Again,
it.
You can't plan that stuff, but it's just Kiss nerd fun like that I'm here for. Because you won't find a bigger Kiss nerd. Maybe you will, but it's hard to find a bigger Kiss nerd. But I'm not done because I have one more small thing to add here.
Yes,
so my good friend Johnny messaged me around Christmas time and said, hey, I have this awesome idea. I want to take my confetti that I got from my Kiss concert. I want to put it in a plastic clear Christmas ornament and put that on the tree and have a Kiss confetti ornament.
That's such a fun, creative idea.
I thought, dude, you're speaking my language. So I didn't do that, but he said, I want to do that, but I want to have a Kiss sticker on the front. I want a Kiss End of the Road sticker on it. Could you make me a sticker for the end of the road? I said, absolutely. So I got a whole sheet made and sent him some. I think I gave Jeb some, and so now I have a whole handful. And we won't do the whole thing today, but I thought it would be cool to take these stickers and only put them on the lids
on the end of the road
for the roads on the end of the road tour.
Makes sense.
So, and I want to start right here at the bottom because these ones I think are more centered. So yeah, I like how this turned into arts and crafts almost. Kind of like, but
it's not the first time we've
not the first time
arts and crafts episode.
Exactly, and don't worry about obviously try and get it as close you can in the center.
Okay.
Because that's not perfect, but it's just on there, and you can tell that this was Kiss on the last tour ever. So I'm going to, once we get done here, I'm going to put these stickers on the rest.
How's that?
I wonder if that's perfect. I wonder if I can fit one on this lid because again, this is the whole reason why I got this.
Like the exact size.
That's why I got these. So
might be a little big actually. We might want to cut around it first.
You think so?
I mean, if you think it'll fit, it just looks a little big to me.
So you want to do the honors?
I can, but you want me to stick it on even if
I think
it's too big?
Yep, I do. I think you'll get it on perfect. I think it'll look fine.
I'm just saying it might be bigger than the.
Well, it might be.
It's pretty freaking close.
Nice.
I think that's good enough.
Nice. I like it.
Look at that. That's
I like
so cute.
Perfect.
I love it.
Awesome. Thanks, babe.
You're welcome.
Cool. Okay, well, there we go.
Up front there.
So, is that it?
I believe so.
Of course not.
Oh, no?
Of course not, babe. You know who you're talking to?
What else?
Do you know who you're talking to? No. Okay,
you just did a whole Collector's Corner episode. I didn't think we'd have this.
Hey. I'm just out here. I'm having the most fun. No, this one actually isn't anything new. This is a for fun thing I'm doing.
Okay.
This started unofficially last episode. So in episode 88, I showed something at the very end from the year 1988, and I showed some smash scratches and hits items. And so I thought that I would continue that until we get to episode 100.
Okay.
And I want to see how close I can get to showing an item from that respective year.
Okay.
All the way until episode 100. I want to see how close I can get.
That's fun.
Last time was 88.
I love that.
This is 89. What do I have from 89? Let me show you.
That's exciting. I like that idea.
I have
That's very good.
This Hot in the Shade album flat along with a Hot in the Shade postcard right there. So I did show this and include this in my Kiss collection video I did
love that.
at the beginning of the year. But I wanted to show it here. Now, these were unframed, so I would normally flip and show both sides. But I put it in this frame because I wanted to have something from the 80s on my wall.
Yes, we don't have enough 80s stuff.
I have a few 80s things here and there, but not a lot. So I wanted to have something from Unmasked Kiss, something from Eric Carr and Bruce Kulick's era. And so I framed this Kiss Hot in the Shade album flat along with this Kiss Hot in the Shade postcard.
I love that photo of them. That photo is so good. I love Eric's looking off in the distance.
It's very cool. It's very street. I love it.
Paul's looking over there too, actually.
Yeah, Paul's looking over there. They got the boots on, and
it's good.
The postcard even does say 89. So it's not like, oh, it's Hot in the Shade. No, it actually is from 89. And on the back of this is just the album cover. I chose this side because it's much cooler.
Yeah.
I love the blue.
Yes.
And of course, our logo is modeled after Hot in the Shade.
Yep.
So yeah, there's a lot happening here. I love this, and so I wanted to show this as part of the 89 theme. And so in the next episode, I'll show something from 1990. And we'll see how. Now, I'm pretty confident I can get the 98, 99. Yeah. That's my era.
It'll get easier the closer we get.
But the early, it's going to be hard in the early 90s. You know, I want to see just how close I can get with early 90s Kiss.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to start digging around and see what I can find. Hopefully I can, I want to see how close I can get to showing an item from each episode
Surely
until
there's something 100. In here.
Oh yeah. You
just gotta dig for it.
I'm kind of thinking right now, like getting a mental list prepared, but it's going to be hard for the early 90s. We'll see. Yeah. But in any case, yes, that I think is finally it for this episode. Thank you, everyone, for watching this show. I know there are a lot of Kiss channels. There are a lot of Kiss podcasts. There are lots of things to do in life, period, dot.
Yeah.
But the fact that you people want to sit here and watch us talk about Kiss means the world to me. Every like, every comment, every share, every subscription means the world. So if you guys would like, please like, follow, and subscribe. We are on episode 89. We're approaching episode 100. That to me is crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
It's crazy. It's been almost 3 years of us just sitting here talking about Kiss, and I don't see us stopping anytime soon. So thank you to every single person who tunes in each week. It really does mean a lot, especially if you watch all the way through.
Yeah.
I hope that no matter what you're doing and where you are in life, I hope you're okay. I hope you're happy. I hope you're healthy. This is our time to just chill, to relax, and to be cool, talk about Kiss. And we will be here next week. You guys haven't noticed I've been dropping videos whenever I want now.
Yep.
I got videos, obviously on Sundays, but I did one last Friday. Might have one more coming up. Who knows? We'll see. But either way, I'm just glad that we're all here and we're all celebrating Kiss because they're the hottest band in the world. They're my favorite band. And I will see you guys episode 90 next time on Kiss Army Things podcast. My name is Xander.
My name is Daphne.
Rock on. Peace out.